Greetings and salutations, guys. Welcome back to the ALEuminati. We've got quite a fun one this week. We're going for the date this week, aren't we?
Yeah. Before we start though, just so for people who've never seen this show before, I'm Craig.
I'm Lord Badger.
This is Lord Badger, and we recognise we've probably not filmed for a little bit, so just for people who've never seen the show before, we pick a topic.
Yep.
Once a week, we tell each other about that topic, go away, do our own independent investigation of, which is, basically, if we can find on the internet, we can generally verify that it's not written by some person in his basement. But
although I do occasionally throw that person in the basement in.
Yes.
Just for shits and giggles.
And there are videos of me having meltdowns because of shits and giggles.
Check out Randy Kramer.
I watched a video of Randy Kramer, actual video of Randy, who he looks like as well, because I was so intrigued.
Yeah.
And it was worse than what you told me. It was worse.
I think the bits I got the transcript of the video, because I had the transcript on the video, and when I watched that video, it was like an hour and 40 minutes long. And I think I could only manage about 15 minutes of the video. I just went, fuck it, I'll take the transcript as gospel. It doesn't really matter.
Fucking terrible. Anyway, we go away, do an independent investigation, and what you've seen tonight on the show is we don't know what we have to research, we don't know what we've got.
No. So my research
is on broken phone.
My research is all here. Yours, you print out a tree every week.
That's true.
But yeah, we have no idea if we've got the same research or what we've got. And then we have to answer the question, does I believe?
Yes, but there needs to be a question about what to believe in this week.
And this week's question is what?
I guess it's a bit of a loaded question. Did Christopher Columbus, was he the first person to find America? Like the Christopher Columbus?
Oh, I think that's going to be the title of the video. Did Christopher Columbus discover America?
Yes.
So that's the question at the end.
Yes, but also we're going to embellish a little bit this week. For the first time ever, we're going to embellish a bit more and go, should he be revered?
I think that's going to come clear in my research, but we'll see.
Well, the only reason we say that is because still, right now, in the United States of America...
well, this is going out, we're filming this on the...
1st of October.
1st of October, in the hopes we're going to get it edited and ready for the 12th.
Well, for Columbus Day. Yeah.
But, before everyone starts going mental, Columbus Day is getting less and less of a thing in America right now.
It is.
I think some places have replaced it with...
Indigenous Day.
Indigenous Day, some people replaced it with Freedom Day.
Yeah.
Some people scrapped Columbus Day altogether in favour of Juneteenth.
Juneteenth?
Yeah, Juneteenth is a black celebration day. So it's when the proclamation ending slavery.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Right, in the middle of June. But you can't really celebrate, like, I can't remember the exact date, so please forgive me, but say it was on the 2nd of June. They can't celebrate on the 2nd of June because it was passed in Washington on the 2nd of June. It took 12 days, 15 days before some states found out about it.
Right, okay.
Because they had to travel by horse.
So it's within that period, effectively.
So it's like between the 10th and the 8th, 19th.
Somewhere in between.
So it's like Juneteenth, because
yeah.
different states celebrate on different day because that's when they got the news.
Makes sense.
It's not like today where Congress passed a law and we all know within minutes. This was like, it took weeks for it to go around. So Juneteenth is kind of the end of slavery and is kind of a black celebrated holiday.
Okay. So
Columbus Day is becoming less and less of a thing. And I'm only pointing that out because Columbus Day has become quite racially loaded in America over recent years.
And the thing is though, because we don't celebrate, so we're from the UK, we're in Leeds in the UK, and we don't celebrate Columbus Day. So, we have
no emotional attachment to this at all. We're completely outsiders.
It's not a UK holiday at all. And before I investigated this, I only really knew like what I'd heard at school, like Christopher Columbus sailed the oceans, found the Americas, and he was revered as a hero, and he was responsible for creating that link between Europe and America.
Yeah, I mean, history when I did history in high school. The history of the UK is kind of, here's World War II, we beat the Nazis, this is the Holocaust, Nazis are evil. Christopher Columbus discovered America. Now let's talk about how feudal England got rid of, brought in hedgerows. No, the Enclosure Act.
And the Stuarts and all that sort of thing. It's just like, yeah, then we go down this terrible time of Middle East.
I think we had one lesson going, Columbus discovered America, and then we had 12 weeks of how landlords put in hedgerows to district fields and not destroy common ground in the UK and in feudal England,
It was riveting stuff.
But yeah, the Enclosure Act, actually, I remember doing the Enclosure Act in school and it was boring as fuck. But now I find it really fucking interesting. Bizarrely, now I find it really interesting.
Do I even know you?
It's because it's where you see the start of government eroding people's rights.
Oh, well, that's a different video.
It's a different video, but that's why I find it interesting now.
Yeah.
At school, this is boring as fuck. Why we talk about edges? Why we talk about fucking privet edges in farms? I don't give a shit. Now I'm like, that's when the first documented evidence of the government using state power to remove common people's rights.
That's right, yeah.
It's really fucking important, but yeah.
It's anyway. Land division.
Yeah.
What were we saying? Oh yeah, so today... So, really...
Yeah, we go on rants a lot, don't worry.
If you've never seen it before, you'll recognise. So really, so we were always told Christopher Columbus found America. So was Christopher Columbus the first person to find America? And
what was the song Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue?
Something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the rhyme. No. But other than did Christopher Columbus find America? Was he the first one to find America? And secondly, should he be revered? So I'm doing a double one this week, and that is new.
That is new.
So
let's crack into it then.
Yeah. So typically you open, so I'll let you crack on.
I'll set the scene. So, the first Columbus Day celebration recorded in the United States was in New York on October 12, 1792, to honour Italian-American heritage.
Interesting.
So it had nothing to do with Christopher Columbus finding America.
Is Christopher Columbus even Italian?
It was held in New York on October 12, 1972, held to honour Italian-American heritage.
The only Italian-American heritage I know is like Godfather stuff, you know.
But so it wasn't even the original Columbus Day. Wasn't even
Columbus Day.
It wasn't even like to celebrate Columbus finding America. It was to celebrate Italian-American heritage, which I'm assuming.
So it's been hijacked somehow.
Yeah.
Okay.
President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1937. So don't forget, 1792 it started. In 1937. Roosevelt proclaimed October 12 to be Columbus Day, a national holiday. In 1971, the holiday date was changed to the second Monday in October. So the date changes every year.
So the second Monday in October. So
it's kind of like Easter Sunday we have over here, isn't it? Like, is it Easter moves every fucking year?
So that means that it's the 11th of October, not the 12th.
So it's the 11th this year,
yeah.
Then? Right. So it gives me one less day of editing.
He loves it. We don't need to edit, we're perfect.
Right. For various reasons, many places have changed the name of the holiday. Berkeley, California replaced Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day in 1992 to honor the original inhabitants of the island where Columbus landed. Which I find not funny, right? I'm just going to break off from it, right? So, Berkeley, California have gone, no. We're not even celebrating Columbus finding America. We're changing it to Indigenous Peoples Day to celebrate the original inhabitants of the islands where Columbus landed.
But he landed in the Bahamas.
Right, so California celebrate honouring the indigenous people of the Bahamas. But Columbus Day wasn't about celebrating Columbus landing in the Bahamas. Columbus Day was about honouring Italian-American heritage. So, do you Americans even know what your fucking holidays are?
I'm really confused as to what we're celebrating now. So, why did Roosevelt hijack that date and say, from this point forwards, it's now...
He didn't.
I thought that's what he said.
1792 was the first... 12th October 1792 was to honour Italian-American heritage.
Okay, that's the original holiday.
Yeah. Roosevelt, in 1937, proclaimed October the 12th to be Columbus Day, a national holiday. So he didn't say it was to celebrate Columbus finding America. It was just, it's a national holiday.
To celebrate Columbus.
To celebrate Italian-American heritage nationally. Or do you hijack it to celebrate Columbus? I don't know which one he did.
So just to be completely sure, because I've never heard this before, did Roosevelt say...
this is a day celebrating Columbus?
It's a day celebrating Columbus. Did he say this replaces the previous holiday? Or is it something else?
I couldn't actually tell you.
Okay.
I don't know if Roosevelt hijacked the Italian-American Heritage Holiday to place it with Columbus found America Day.
But that sounds like that's very political.
It is, isn't it? We're going to wipe out the Italian-American holiday. Because there isn't another one.
Yeah, it's very similar to how the Christian Church killed April 1st as as the New Year's Day in the UK and called it April Fool's Day.
Oh, well, as I've mentioned plenty of times, I'm a pagan. We celebrate winter solstice on 21st December.
Yeah.
Even though it's widely regarded by scholars that Jesus was born in June, his birthday was changed to 25th of December because if you're taking over, when the Romans invaded England, if you're taking over the country, it's easier to get them to submit to your new order if your holidays are around the same time. So we'd be celebrating the solstice on the 21st and the Romans would celebrate the birth of Christ on the 25th. So that kind of you party together, and then over time people start to party on the 25th and not the 21st, and you slowly remove paganism from the country.
But what I'm saying about April 1st being the original New Year's Day, and it then becoming April Fool's Day was a specific political
take the piss out of pagans.
You
don't even know when the year starts.
Yeah, to remove paganism completely.
Mm-hmm.
And if Roosevelt's done that, was it this political thing going? Do you know?
I didn't even look at that when I wrote these notes. I'm going to have to look into it more.
What's
actually know that.
Was that something that Was there something happening where we need to stop these Italians having a fucking celebration?
We can't what we're going to
do? Columbus sounds like a good idea. Let's get Columbus in on the apps. If you guys know,
please let us know. I didn't read it that way actually. When I wrote this,
very naive, clearly.
So, Baker, California changed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day in '92. In '89, South Dakota started calling the holiday Native American Day.
1989,
yeah. South Dakota started calling the holiday Native American Day. This isn't a new thing. This is 40 years, 30 years.
Why is it Native? So, right, okay. Again, forgive my ignorance here again. Okay, so you've gone from having an Italian American celebration to being Columbus Day, where they've gone, well, we kind of know a bit about the history of Columbus. We're now going to do Native American Day. How they got no
connection,
relationship whatsoever.
As far as I'm aware, Columbus never met a Native American.
He did not.
Yeah.
Well, not that I'm aware of.
Alabama celebrates a combination of Columbus Day and American Indian Heritage Day.
Right. All these things are worth celebrating, though.
Yeah.
Right,
We're not saying one's better than the other. We're just trying to. It's getting confusing. And Hawaii calls it Discovery Day.
That's probably the more politically correct one.
Mm-hmm.
We were discovered.
Other countries also celebrate Columbus with different holidays.
Okay.
For example, in the Bahamas, it's called Discovery Day, and there's Dia de la Hispanidad and Fiesta Nacional in Spain.
Say that again.
Dia de la Hispanidad.
I love it when we're asking you to pronounce.
Hispanidad. Dia de la Hispanidad.
Dia de la Hispanidad,
yeah. And Fiesta Nacional in Spain.
I just love when we're saying. It's so funny when we ask back to another video. And
I'm a Yorkshireman and I drink.
And his Yorkshire dialect go, can you read that French? Come on to Pell 2. So whenever I get these, this is brilliant. I've got to ask him to say it several times.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that's like a brief history. So I know I kind of skipped over a lot there, but I didn't want to get bogged down into what days celebrate what and why. And
okay, so ultimately,
I just wanted to kind of point out that they started in 1792 as a holiday of Italian American heritage.
Yeah.
Seems, I'm going to put my neck out here, saying 1937 Roosevelt turned it into a celebration of Columbus rather than a celebration of Italian American heritage.
There's got to be a reason why. That doesn't make any sense.
Because it's a national holiday. You won't make Italian heritage a national holiday.
But in the UK, when we've got national holidays, we've got a day off work, paid as a bank holiday.
Yeah, but you don't make it about a single thing. We don't have like, Black History Month, well, everyone gets a month off work. Celebrate Black History Month, you know.
Can we not?
But no, you know what I mean? You don't. So this is a national holiday.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have all of America having a national holiday because of Italian American heritage. So I'm assuming he changed it to celebrate Columbus discovering America.
I don't think they have a day off because of Columbus, though.
It's a national holiday.
But it's not a bank holiday where you get paid from work and you get day off.
Sure, national holidays are, like Thanksgiving, Labour Day, Columbus Day. I'm sure they are.
Again,
and he put it as the second Monday in October, so it is a bank holiday Monday.
So it's similar to Easter where it moves.
Yeah. But it's on a Monday, so it's bank holiday Monday.
Well,
like we have over here.
We're the only ones that have a bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, but national holidays, more or less a bank holiday.
Alright, it could be. I don't know.
But then, yes, since '89, they've been changing it to Native American Day in South Dakota. In '92, Berkeley, California, changed it to Indigenous Peoples Day.
Well, it can't be a national holiday then. If you can rename your national holiday to whatever you fancy.
So I wonder if it's still a national holiday. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. America's fucked.
It's a bit weird, this. I've not even started with the detail of what I've found so far.
It's a national holiday, but different places call it different things.
We can call it whatever we fancy, yeah. It's like having Christmas Day in some states and other days like, no, it's not Christmas Day, it's Christ-born Day. I don't know, it's just a bit... Anyway.
Columbus was widely read in geography, astronomy and history. He formulated a plan to seek a western sea passage to the East Indies, hoping to profit from the lucrative spice trade. Following Columbus's persistent lobbying to multiple kingdoms, Catholic monarchs Queen Elizabeth I and King Ferdinand II agreed to sponsor a journey west. Columbus left Castile in August 1492 with 3 ships and made landfall in the Americas on 12th October, ending the period of human habitation in the Americas now referred to as the pre-Columbian era. His landing place was an island in the Bahamas known by its native inhabitants as Guahane.
Yes, another one!
Columbus subsequently visited the islands now known as Cuba and Hispaniola, establishing a colony in what is now Haiti. Or Haiti, I can never fucking pronounce that one. The first European settlement in the Americas since the Norse colonies nearly 500 years earlier. He arrived back in Castile in early 1493, bringing a number of captive natives with him. Word of his voyages soon spread throughout Europe. Columbus made 3 further voyages to the New World, exploring Lesser Antilles in 1493, Trinidad and the northern coast of South America in 1498, and the eastern coast of Central America in 1502. He never clearly renounced his belief that he had reached the Far East and gave the name Indians to the indigenous people he encountered. By 1484, Columbus presented his plans to King John II of Portugal. He proposed that the king equip 3 sturdy ships and grant Columbus 1 year's time to sail out into the Atlantic, search for a western route to the Orient and return. Columbus also requested he be made Great Admiral of the Ocean, appointed governor of any lands he discovered, and given 1/10 of all revenue of those lands. The king submitted Columbus' proposal to his experts, who rejected it. It was considered being Columbus' estimation of a travel distance of 2,400 miles was far too low. On 1st May 1486, permission having been granted, Columbus presented his plans to Queen Isabella, who in turn referred it to a committee. After passing of much time, the savants of Spain, like their counterparts in Portugal, replied that Columbus had grossly underestimated the distance to Asia. So, my notes are out of order there. So, what I'm going to go back on is, let's go back to 1484.
Okay.
Right? So, in 1484, Columbus went to King John of Portugal and said, right, look, all these spices are coming out of the Orient, out of the Far East. Really fucking lucrative. We can make a fuck ton of money. Right? The problem with it is it takes that long to get there and get back. So I reckon if I go west, I can get to the Orient quicker.
Wasn't he also trying to avoid pirates?
Yeah. So it's like if I go west and this way I can find a really quick route to the Orient, and then I can get there and back. I can do a trip there and back and go there and back again before one ship can get there and back. I can double the amount. I can cut the time in half and that's... And the kings, obviously, like, King John II of Portugal was like, fucking, what? I can double my money off at spice trade. Fuck yes.
Well,
and this is before the Silk Road, don't forget.
Yeah, so there was a bit of an argument though, wasn't there? I think you
so,
said about it there.
Well, like, it's like, so his governors...
You don't quite have the right distance, my friend.
His governors who said... the king submitted Columbus' proposal to his experts, because obviously he's like, fuck, if I can double my money in short of the time, yes please. And his experts went, in our considered opinion, its distance is a bit short, because he said he reckoned it was 2,400 miles. It's not 2,400 miles.
Not in any imagination.
I think he went double that, I think, wasn't it? When it hit the Bahamas. And it's like, you're not anywhere near the fucking Orient, mate.
Absolutely not. So he went...
Because basically you've got the globe.
Oh, don't let the flat earthers say he's the globe.
Fuck off, flat earthers. So you've got the globe, and they're going like, oh, well, we're going from here to here. But if I go this way, I'll get there quicker. But didn't realise that all of this part of the globe is here. There's another half of the globe, like, they've only discovered this half of it.
Yeah, so there was still discussion. It was relatively well known that it was a globe, and there's still flat Earth at that point. They still thought they could kind of go around the flat Earth rather than from around the globe. So there's still some people suggesting that he thought the globe was flat, and he didn't. He knew he could see the horizon.
Yeah. But he just underestimated how big the globe was. Because by going by all the places we know, the time it takes to get there, the globe must be this big.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, your maps are sound, apart from you don't know the entire eastern side of the globe exists. Now the whole northern hemisphere, more or less, exists. You know.
Can I just point out so far the things you've said is not once yet have you said that he landed and set foot in America.
Mm-hmm.
Just making
Not yet. He landed in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And the Antilles.
They're not America. United States of America, as we want to call it.
Nope. Bahamas, Guanahana, Hispaniola, and Haiti.
So,
or Haiti, whatever you call it.
So in here, can I just jump straight in?
Yeah.
He didn't ever step foot in America, the United States of America, not once.
Not yet.
No, he never did.
I know, he never did. I don't want to spoil it for people. He never did. I know he never did. I fucking researched it. I was trying to leave a bit of suspense for the episode, you know?
So it just blows my fucking mind how...
My entire life, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, discovered America. No, he fucking didn't.
He didn't once step foot in America. So, I don't...
He got close.
Yeah.
He got close to Florida at one point, I think, if I remember my notes correctly. But I just want to point out, I just want to go back a bit, right? So that's 1484.
Oh, right, yes, so I fucked your timeline up here, so
right.
Please do. That's not your job. Anyway.
Leif Erikson, father, right? Leif Erikson, his father, Eric the Red.
Hold on. So now we're jumping to people who we think might have gone to
America before Columbus did.
Right, because it's very clear. So I know about Leif. So what we're doing now is we're deviating a little bit from Christopher Columbus, because Columbus was supposedly...
Well, this is going to be my timeline, because it was in chronological order. This guy got there, this guy got there. This is when Columbus supposedly went.
Right, okay.
But we jumped ahead.
So
let's go back to get this all back on track.
Let's make this clear then. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about...
This is people who allegedly discovered America before Columbus did.
Columbus didn't even set foot in America then.
The question is, did Columbus discover America?
Right, let's just...
It's generally accepted he did.
Oh, okay.
Right? So, people who got there before him.
Right.
Right?
I'm going to go find Leif in my notes now.
Leif Erikson, his father, Eric the Red, founded the first European settlement of Greenland after being expelled from Iceland around 1985 AD for killing a neighbour. Erik's Red father himself had been banished from Norway for committing manslaughter.
Nice guy.
Right, so Leif Erikson, right, his father, Eric the Red, founded the first European colony in Greenland in 985 AD.
985 AD.
985, yeah.
Okay.
He founded that, he got kicked out of that for killing someone.
The Viking way,
right?
I'm sure.
I mean, he had form, because the only reason he set up the first European colony in Greenland is because he got kicked out of Norway for manslaughter. So he killed someone in Norway, got kicked out, went fuck you, I want to go find my own place. Discovered Greenland, set up a European colony there. Killed someone, got kicked out.
It's weird though, because I've always envisioned the Vikings to be they held court.
Mm-hmm.
They had a parliament of sorts, so they held court. So whenever someone of any kind would, if anyone did anything, court would be held and to basically say, you could be, however your merciful killing will be, this is how it be. It must have been of good standing to go, do you know what, instead of killing you, just fuck off.
Yeah, just like, get the fuck out there.
Yeah.
Like, and I think probably because he must have had good standing, they kicked him out, so he discovered Greenland, set up a colony there, and then brought a lot of fucking trade back from Greenland to Norway.
Well, the irony of Greenland is it's not very green.
Yeah, but it brought a lot of trade back in like furs and stuff and
Right.
trees, like certain woods and whatnot. So when he kills someone in Greenland and he goes up in front of courts and they went, we're gonna kill this guy, aren't we? He's like, oh, just send him off and he might fucking die, or he might just fucking find somewhere else and bring new furs and new wood. Off you fuck, lad.
You can have a boat, you can have a 4K, and you can fuck off and... Yeah, you're not allowed that, yeah.
So yeah, in 1985 he killed his neighbour. So he got kicked out. So about he was believed to be born in 970. Got kicked out in 985. Around 1000 AD, Ericsson sailed east to his ancestral home of Norway. There, King Olaf I converted him to Christianity and charged him with prophesizing the region of the pagan settlers of Greenland. Ericsson converted his mother, who built Greenland's first Christian church, but not his outlaw father. Icelandic legends called sagas recounted Ericsson's exploits in the New World around AD 1000. These Norse stories were spread by word of mouth before becoming recorded in the 12th and 13th centuries. So still 100 years before, so 500 years before Christopher Columbus ever set sail.
Yes, see next.
Ericsson has recorded tales of him, two different accounts as to how he arrived at North America.
Yeah, so there was one, wasn't there, where supposedly he just simply got lost trying to get back to Norway, and then he just appeared and it's like, what is this great new land?
According to the saga of Eric the Red, Ericsson crossed the Atlantic by accident after sailing off course on his return voyage from Norway after his conversion to Christianity. The saga of the Greenlanders, however, recounts that Ericsson's voyage to North America was no fluke. Instead, the Viking explorer had heard of a strange land to the west from Icelandic trader Bjarne Herjolfsson, who more than a decade earlier had overshot Greenland and sailed by the shores of North America without setting foot upon it. Ericsson bought the trader's ship, raised a crew of 35 men and retraced the route in reverse. After crossing the Atlantic, the Vikings encountered a rocky, barren land in present-day Canada. Ericsson bestowed upon the land a name as boring as the surroundings, Helluland, Old Norse for stone slab land. Researchers believe this location could possibly have been Baffin Island. The Norsemen then voyaged south to a timber-rich location they called Markland, Forest Land, most likely in present-day Labrador, before finally setting up a base camp likely on the northern tip of the island of Newfoundland.
Yeah.
The Vikings spent an entire winter there and benefited from the milder weather compared to their homeland. They explored the surrounding region, abounding with lush meadows, rivers teeming with salmon and wild grapes so suitable for wine that Ericsson called the region Vinland, or Wineland. After spending the winter in Vinland, Ericsson and his crew sailed home to windswept Greenland with badly needed timber and plentiful portions of grapes. Ericsson, who would succeed Eric the Red as chief from the Greenland settlement after his father's death, never returned to North America, but other Vikings continued to sail west to Vinland for at least the ensuing decade. In spite of North America's more bountiful resources, the Viking settlers remained in desolate Greenland. This was perhaps due to the violent encounters, including the slaying of Ericsson's brother Thorwald, they had with the indigenous population in North America. So basically they went over, found a load of stone, moved down, found a load of wood, moved a little bit further, found a load of grapes, went, this place is fucking brilliant, went a little bit further down, got fucking battered by the indigenous people, went back up, kept the grapes, got the wood, let's have a look down south again, no, we got battered again, alright, we'll stay up here.
So the site you're talking about there,
Well,
so in Newfoundland.
My next state, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Archaeologists have unearthed evidence that supports the saga stories of the Norse expeditions to America. In 1960, Norwegian explorer Helge Ingstad scoured the coast of Labrador and Newfoundland for signs of a possible settlement, and he found it on the northernmost tip of Newfoundland at the Sanso Meadows. An international team of archaeologists, that included Ingstad's wife Anne, excavated artifacts of Viking origin dating from around AD 1000, and the remains of a Norse village are now part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
And I had a look at it as well, and it's very clearly out of place. So it's not. It's very clearly. Anything you've ever seen Viking, it looked very Viking.
And it looks like nothing discovered in that time frame in that country.
100%. So that was. So Eric the Red is the person who's probably left physical evidence to say, I made it here way before Christopher Columbus found it.
500 years before Columbus found it.
About others.
Interestingly, in 1964, President Lyndon Johnson signed a proclamation that declared October the 9th to be Leif Erikson Day in honour of the Viking explorer, his crew, and the country's Nordic American heritage. So there is actually a Leif Erikson Day. It's the 9th of October. It's but I like that it's before Columbus. Like, when he got there before Columbus, it came his old days 3 days before Columbus, that is. Because he got there first.
So I think Columbus is probably celebrated for not being there first, but he opened up the Western world 500 years after Leif Erikson and said, "There's a new world over there. Let's create this new trade or this new way of." But he certainly didn't see it first. In fact, there was supposedly legend of before the Viking Leif Erikson.
Right. So you were saying someone. I've got the earliest one I've got is Erikson getting there in about 1000 AD. You say you got someone earlier?
Potentially.
Go on.
So,
is this the Irish monk?
Yes.
Right, yeah, I've read this, but I didn't put it in my notes because it sounds like one of those. As a pagan, I'm allowed to say this. Sounds like one of those batshit crazy pagan tales.
So I'll just read out what we have. So this theory, it's kind of a legend more than anything else, but a 6th century Irish monk named Saint Brendan supposedly sailed to North America on a curragh, a wood-framed boat covered with animal skin. He alleged his journey in detail in the ancient annals of Ireland. Brendan was a real historical figure who travelled extensively around Europe.
Yeah.
There's no specific evidence to say he ever landed in North America, but his stories about how he got there suggest he might have done, but he didn't leave any physical evidence behind. And in 1976, a writer called Tim Severin set out to prove that a journey was actually possible. So Severin built what Brendan had, an exact replica of the curragh, and sailed along the route described by the travelling monks, and he did one in Canada. So in 6th century, monk said, well, I built a boat, I went this way, I told about his diary, how he got there, and then in 1976 someone went, let's see if I can do it. It's exactly the same boat.
That's debunked it for me, because I were like, a curragh? Have you seen a curragh? You can't get fucking over Atlantic Ocean in a curragh.
It's a tiny little boat.
It's like a fucking lead thing, like when you're gonna be dead. The moment you can't see land anymore, you're fucked.
Yes, exactly.
But no, if someone did it in 1976 with the exact same stuff, then well done fucking pal Brendan. Well done, pal.
So it's not, there's no evidence he landed there. However, to leave a diary of how he got there.
To leave a diary how he got there, you can follow the journey and do it. Kind of suggests you did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of this has been embellished, how much of this has been rewritten since America was found. I don't.
Yeah,
you could easily rewrite history. We know for a fact we've rewritten history continually.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about the 1976 voyage, so I just kind of, to me, it just sounded like it's a fucking curragh. That can't get over the fucking Atlantic Ocean. Fuck off.
Maybe the Atlantic
Ocean. You can barely get that. Well, you can probably get across the Channel on it. And you can go across Europe on it because you hug the coastline.
Personally, I was surprised it get down the River Aire, to be honest.
No, they can. I mean, it's getting from England to France is probably fucking dodgy, or England to Scandinavia is dodgy.
Definitely.
But once you get over it, then if you've got like a calm day, good weather, good wind behind you, you get over there pretty quickly. Then you just keep like fucking keep the coast on your left hand side, so if anything fucking goes wrong you can always swing back to shore.
It must have been incredibly lucky to be able to make it there and back. It must have taken ages.
Travel with the grace of God, didn't they, with a father?
Well, but so that's the without evidence. that was a person who supposedly may have got there before Leif Erikson. But
I've got another one that might have got there before Columbus.
Okay.
Not before Leif Erikson, but before Columbus. In the 15th century, so same century as Columbus.
Is this a Ming Dynasty one?
Yeah, the Chinese.
Yeah.
So the theory is espoused by a small group of scholars and amateur historians led by Gary Menzies, a retired British naval officer. It asserts that a Muslim Chinese eunuch mariner.
A eunuch?
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
A Muslim Chinese eunuch mariner.
It's very specific.
Yeah. From the Ming Dynasty discovered America 71 years before Columbus. Zheng was a real historical figure who commanded a huge armada of wooden sailing vessels in the early 15th century. He explored Southeast Asia, India and the east coast of Africa using navigational techniques that were, at the time, cutting edge. But Menzies, in his best-selling 2003 book, he wrote a book about this.
I wonder how, I wonder why.
For those that are new to the channel, follow the money.
If
this guy's espouses something that's new, that's never been heard before, ooh, why is he saying this? Oh look, he's got a fucking book out. It's making money. But Menzies, in his best-selling 2003 book, best-selling, he made a fuck ton of money then.
Best-selling compared to what though?
I don't know, it just says best-selling 2003.
Biff, Kip and Chipper?
Yeah. I suppose it got in the charts of something, didn't it? Right. 1421, year that China discovered America, asserts that Zheng sailed to the east coast of the United States and made established settlements in South America. Menzies based his theory on evidence from old shipwrecks, Chinese and European maps, and accounts written by navigators of the time. Menzies' scholarship, though, has been called into question. Many of his claims are presented without a shred of proof, says historian Robert Finlay, writing in the Journal of World History. Indeed, most historians say the China First theory is full of holes.
But he wrote a book.
Yep.
If you want to talk about other books, we did the Bermuda Triangle.
Which changes depending which author you're reading.
Exactly, so...
I mean, it's not even like, oh, it changed a bit here and a bit there. But it's something like...
a million
like a million square kilometres difference.
Depending on which person...
I know, only 3.5 million square kilometre difference
it was
between
insane.
books. Like, it's ridiculous.
So, you make some amazing claims that only this book has found out.
Yeah.
You buy it, you read it and go, this is loads of bollocks, but it doesn't matter.
He's got your money. I've got your money now. See you, mate. Go on, I wanted.
I've got your 10 quid, they don't give a shit if you don't like it. So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple more.
Go on then.
This one has some physical evidence to an extent.
Right.
Not of people,
Mm-hmm.
but of other stuff. So, Polynesian yams and shaky claims.
Yes. Yes, I know this claim. Continue.
So, there's a chance that the Polynesians visited America way before Columbus did.
In Polynesia, I think Polynesia's like New Zealand.
Brazil or something, I thought. Was it?
Polynesia, Brazil. Well, surely Brazil's South America. It's like, oh, well, South America got, well, of course, fucking did the walk done.
It might be.
I thought Polynesia was like Indonesia.
Well, I'll read it to you. So, the oldest carbonised sweet potato evidence in the Pacific goes back to about 1000 AD. So 500 years before Columbus sailed to the Americas. It wasn't a particularly convincing piece of evidence at the time, but French scientists have found better samples from a herbarium collected by early European explorers, and through genetic analysis they were able to show the Polynesians took sweet potatoes from America and spread them across Southeast Asia and the Pacific, where they are now ubiquitous. There are also studies which link Brazilian DNA to that of the Polynesians through another recent study and put the findings under question. It seems very likely that the Polynesians did in fact reach America and establish some kind of trade routes. If this happened, it was before Columbus' time, but it's not completely clear if it was before Leif Davis and the Vikings. They're not completely sure, but based upon the evidence they found, it could be of a similar.
Could be around that time.
It could either be a little bit before, maybe a little bit afterwards. But
and there's no Well, like I said, there's no Bering Strait at that point because
It's gone by then.
Bering Strait's long gone by then,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
even then, it's still it's a massive journey from.
Yeah, I mean, there was no physical way to get to North America at that point. That
You've
bridge
just
is gone.
sailed it.
Yeah. Another intriguing analysis on the Peruvian mummies found that at least one such mummy had been embalmed using resin from a tree that only grew in Oceania and New Guinea. Both the mummy and the tree dated back to 1200 AD.
So Oceania is New Zealand, Australia. Yeah.
So recent studies place the earliest migration between 25,000 and 15,000 years ago. Technically, you could say they were the first ones to discover America.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty solid proof.
I mean, if you're talking the embalming from a specific tree in Oceania only.
Yeah, so they've got over to Oceania and then they've got this evidence of having yams that only grow in this part of it, where you can genetically track them back to that part of America, then yeah, I'd say they got there first.
Well, maybe. I mean, you don't really know for certain how things travelled and got there, but...
Right, I'd say, well, we know the Vikings got there, it's a fucking UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Yeah,
That's not what dogs. So they got there,
Yes.
what, fucking 400, 500 years before Columbus did? That's guaranteed, that's definite, so he wasn't the first one to discover America. The Polynesians might have got there a little bit before, a little bit after the Vikings. Chinese, I'm going to say they didn't, because the guy who wrote the fucking book, and the only claims have come out of this book, this one book that got written.
That's right.
And the Irish monk, I don't know, I think people could have, over the period of history, have gone, oh, well, like Irish historians are telling this tale, and then with new technology and mapping and stuff like that comes to light that he couldn't have made it and go, well, he went this way. Actually, his diary says he went left for 2 days. No, he went right for 2 days. But we'll correct it to make sure he got there.
I mean, you could. Yeah, of course. You can rewrite stuff. As you know, things have been found. You can go, well, no one's really checking this shit. We'll just rewrite his diary. You know, just to go, well, we did it.
And in his diary it says this.
Yeah.
And you're the keeper of the diary. You're the authority on it, so no one's going to question you.
I mean, maybe doing it to service. I've never read the diary. I don't know if it's been well protected or rewritten. I've got no idea.
No, I'm just talking human nature.
Yeah. But you want to protect you. I want to be the first, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect that I'm the first.
The Irish got there first, but protect that. So, yeah, the Chinese, I don't think got there. The Irish, I'm not sure about. Polynesians, I'm tempted to say yeah, and the Vikings definitely.
There's one more, but it's a really thin one. It really is a thin one, and this is based upon DNA sequencing and so on and so forth. So it's a bit of a leap, but it's a big leap, and it does go back to Bering Strait 1,000 years ago. So it's called the Sultrian hypothesis in North American archaeology. So what it says is, I'm just going to read this. Normally I'll paraphrase and we'll talk around it because we've read it properly, but this is worth just reading. So just I'll just take 2 minutes. So the Sultrian hypothesis argues that people from Europe may have been among the early settlers of the Americas. Its notable recent proponents include Dennis Stamford at the Smithsonian and Bruce Bradley at the University of Exeter. The hypothesis contrasts with the mainstream archaeology orthodoxy that North American continent was first populated by people from Asia, either by the Bering land bridge from 13,500 years ago, or by maritime travel along the Pacific coast, or by both. The idea of the Clovis-Solutrian link remains
Who can't pronounce it now, bitch?
Clovis-Solutrian remains controversial. It hasn't got wide acceptance. However, the hypothesis is challenged by large gaps between the Clovis culture and the Sultrian eras. A lack of evidence is also around. But in 2014, an autosomal DNA of a male infant from 12,500 year old deposited in the Montana was sequenced. The skeleton was found in close association with several Clovis artifacts. Comparisons showed strong affinities with DNA from Siberian sites and virtually ruled out any close affinity with the European sources. The DNA sample showed strong affinities with Native American populations. So it's saying that there's a strong affinity, not there's a guarantee, but the DNA is very strongly linked to North American tribes and populace.
Yeah, but you talk when it says strongly linked, that means like 5 or 6 generations removed.
It's a massive stretch.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's just worth saying that the Saltering hypothesis is that when the Bering Strait was around, people migrated across to North America, and actually it was Europeans got there, Chinese got there, way before.
Yeah, before we had Chinese culture and European civilizations.
If you've got land masses that can link together, why would you not cross it?
Yeah, I mean, this is where, we think of camels have been indigenous to the Middle East.
They're not.
They're American.
Yeah.
No, they just walked over the Bering Strait.
I thought they shipped them in now.
Pardon? No, there's no camels in America. They ship camels from the Middle East to America. Right?
I thought, well, maybe I'm reading this, maybe I'm remembering this wrong.
Right, so with the Bering Strait, the landmass between the two continents, camels kind of just migrated over it and went back during the seasons, went back and forth during the season, and then it's during a period of time the Bering Strait's gone, camels are left stranded in Middle East now. So they just evolved to be in the Middle East. But they are indigenous to America. There's just none of them left in America. They all travelled over to the Middle East and the Bering Strait collapsed.
So I read something, I'm sure it was something else. I might have to find out on a break or something we have, but I thought there were certain parts in the Middle East where camels weren't even indigenous to the area and they had to ship them in.
Yeah, they're not indigenous to all the Middle East.
Yeah,
There's certain areas to ship them into.
Like,
they like Dubai, don't they ship camels into Dubai?
Do they?
Because they built Dubai up and there's this tourism thing that the Middle East has camels, and Saudi Arabia is like, we don't have camels. Bring them in for the moment.
It might be something
I
like
think it's something like that. But yeah, so yeah, I can buy that. It's like a thing in it that everybody, if you follow genealogy, like everybody related to Genghis Khan or something, because he had that many kids.
That migrated.
Migrated, and with so many generations down the line, everyone can trace the lineage back to Genghis Khan.
So we're all migrated bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was there.
So, all that there just kind of says Columbus didn't discover America.
So, the thing is though, everybody kind of knows the history of Columbus. So what we've not really done is go to the deep about how Columbus got his money. We could probably, well, do you know what?
Look, should we go on to his first voyage?
No, actually, what I think we should do is, we're going to go to his first voyage, but I said we should split this video into 2 parts. Did Columbus find America first? And should Columbus be revered?
Right, so we're answering the first question now.
I reckon this is a good point to say, did Christopher Columbus...
So does that believe Christopher Columbus discovered America?
This is a weird video, but yes, I think we should do a double...
I thought you said yes. I thought you said yes, he fucking discovered it then. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I asked you a question, does that believe Christopher Columbus discovered America? And you went, yes! The fuck is wrong with you idiot?
No, but this is the first time we've ever done this. We're going to do a double, does that believe?
So, does that believe Christopher Columbus discovered America?
It's a very simple...
Or the first person to discover America?
The fact he'd never even stepped foot in America, landed in the Bahamas in the south, absolutely not. My dad does not believe Christopher Columbus found America. But I will say this, even though he didn't specifically find America, he was historically massively important in regards to, he was culturally important because he first set up that proper route from Europe into the Americas, found it properly, and other people followed and started colonizations, and America became America after that. But he didn't find America.
Well, I've got here because it's my closing for the end of the show because I didn't know we were doing a 2-parter.
Why the fuck not?
Right. So I've got here. So if Columbus wasn't the first, why does he get all the credit?
The only thing I can think of, as I said, is because of that historically he set up this first real European route into America.
I've got here, he opened up America to Europe, which was the expansionist power at the time.
Yeah.
He was the one who made it possible for them to conquer the Western Hemisphere and to bring with them the diseases that apparently wiped out 90% of the population.
We'll talk about that soon.
He wasn't the first, and that is a very Eurocentric view that he was the first. There were millions of people here already, and so their ancestors must have been the first.
Yeah, I mean, it was already discovered with people living there.
Yeah, but
pretty much.
The rest of the world didn't know it was there. Well, the Vikings found it before they did.
But they didn't really report. It's like they didn't follow up.
500 years before Christmas, Columbus, a daring band of Vikings led by Native Americans, set foot in North America and established a settlement. And long before that, some scholars say the Americas seems to be visited by seafaring travellers from China and possibly visitors from Africa and even Ice Age Europe. Can we do a video about you pouring drink on his hand?
It happened every single show. Holy my lip. What's going on?
I've got here, in my closing notes, a popular legend suggests an additional event. According to an ancient manuscript, a band of Irish monks led by St. Brendan sailed in an oxide boat westward in the 6th century searching new lands.
Correct.
After 7 years, they returned home and reported they discovered a land covered with luxuriant vegetation, believed by some people today to be Newfoundland. And the first map of the world to show the newly discovered lands across the ocean sea appeared in 1507, a year after Christopher Columbus's death. The mapmaker Martin Waldseemüller named the New World America after the Italian Amerigo Vespucci, who had explored the coastline of South America and was the first to realise there was a separate continent not part of Asia. So, why does he get the credit? He opened up trade routes and he got a lot of fucking slaves, which I'm going to get into later.
Yes, so I agree.
But did he discover America? No. The Vikings knew it was there 500 years before he did.
This is such an easy one, that one.
That is so fucking easy. There's no... Yeah, like, the Vikings knew it was there 500 years before. Maybe the Irish knew it was there.
But...
Like, you can't... But it's a very... As far as it's very Eurocentric in going, like, well, Christopher Columbus didn't discover it, and the Italian Amerigo Vespucci discovered it, and all the Vikings discovered it 500 years before that. They're all European. Like, does it not exist unless Europe knows it's there?
No.
But that's how the world was at the time. The world was run by Europe,
Yeah.
and the French Empire, the British Empire, and...
For me, it's a very, very simple thing that Christopher Columbus
never set foot on continental America.
So USA.
No, not USA. The continent of America,
yeah.
because USA stops at Canada and stops at Mexico.
Yeah.
Right?
They never stepped foot there.
Right? No, we're talking America, the continent.
Yeah.
We're not talking North America, South America. We're talking America. So did he step foot in Argentina or Mexico or Paraguay or Uruguay? No. He never set foot on mainland America. He stepped foot on the Bahama Islands and
correct.
Haiti and so you could argue he found the Americas, but he didn't find America.
Correct.
Because those islands at the bottom are generally called the Americas, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got North America, South America, Americas, and Canadians watching the hate that we're classing Canada as part of America, but it is part of the North American continent.
So before we go to our second part of the show, we both agreed, and we don't always do this, and we've never done a double.
No, it's from my notes all out. Yeah.
But the next part's the fun part, though.
Yes.
So we both agreed, and it's pretty obvious historically.
There's no proof he still ever stepped foot on the continent of America.
It didn't. And
you know, for example, Christopher Columbus was the first. Like, one, you can't show me any proof he stepped foot on the continent of America. 2, there's a fucking UNESCO World Heritage Site that says someone got there 500 years before him.
it's pretty straight on. But some people might be going, well, Canada's not America.
This is why I pointed out it's on the continent of America.
So we're like, no. You Canadian bastards!
Nope.
It's not. You're not us.
Why I pointed out earlier, Canadians are going to be angry, but we're calling it it's continental America,
Yeah.
not United States of America.
Got some Americans really upset right
It's continental America. So I said, America is Canada, North America, and South America as a continent, and then the Americas are underneath it, which
I'm
are the
going
islands.
to say to people who don't think Canada's part of the Americas, suck it up, buttercup. It really is.
There's only 5 continents in the world. There's only 5 continents in the world, and Canada's not one of them.
There you go. Fuck off.
Well, you got Europe, Oceania,
North America, South America.
no, Europe, Oceania, Africa, Asia, America.
You've got North and South
No.
American continents.
No, they're not continents.
What about Australasia?
That's Oceania.
Australasia and Oceania are separate, aren't
Australasia is now called Oceania.
they? Right, okay. Either way, it's not called America.
But you've got 5. It's 5 continents. Isn't
What
it?
was 6?
Is it 6
That's
North and
6
South America?
continents.
Well, even if you've got North, if it's 6, it's North and South America, are different continents.
Yeah, they are.
Then Canada's still part of North America.
Yeah, but
Continental.
don't tell the United States of America this though.
Well,
It's like
they don't care. Canada doesn't have oil. They don't need freedom. Right, so.
now we're going to go to the second part. Should Christopher Columbus be revered?
Yeah, and I think to do that, we have to go through all three of his voyages.
Yes.
Bit by bit, because
think that's
if
fair.
we go through all his voyages, this gives you an idea of what kind of man he was,
Yeah, that's fair.
and get more of a picture than I ever got taught in school.
Do you know, what I will say is,
I was shocked by this.
I had an idea. So when I said we should do Columbus, there's a part of me knew. I'd heard little bits. I did not know it was like this.
No. So, his first voyage, he discovered the Bahamas.
Is that 1492?
1492. Following Columbus' persistent lobbying to multiple kingdoms, Catholic monarchs Queen Isabel I and King Ferdinand II agreed to sponsor a journey west. Columbus left Castile in August 1492 with 3 ships and made landfalls in the America on 12th of October. In the Americas, now referred to as pre-Columbian era. You know, it says again, like they discover America, it's the Americas, not America. They found, right? His landing place was an island in the Bahamas, known by its native inhabitants as Guanahana. Columbus subsequently visited the islands now known as Cuba and Hispaniola, establishing a colony in now what is known as Haiti. His first European settlement in the Americas since the Norse colonies 500 years earlier. He arrived back in Castile in early 1493, bringing a number of captive natives with him. Word of his voyages soon spread throughout Europe. So, he landed, sort of 1492, discovered the Bahamas, Cuba, Hispaniola, Haiti, and then went back home in 1493 with 3 ships full of slaves.
He did. And he struck a deal then with the Spanish as well. So what it said is, he kind of stood to gain. So, okay, to put this, when he first left, it was to gain, look at the spice trade. And this
He thought he could find a quicker route to the spice trade and get spices back, which had been fucking lucrative.
Yeah.
He'd have been the richest man in the world.
But once he arrived in the Americas, gold took over. The idea of gold and precious metals. It's like he didn't leave to find that, but once he found it, it was like wow. And then he struck a deal with the Spanish government. So he said Columbus stood to gain significant wealth and power from his voyage. He negotiated terms with King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. His contract with the monarchs, called the Capitulations of Santa Fe, named Columbus the Admiral, Viceroy and Governor of any land that he discovered.
Yes, also they got the title Great Admiral of the Ocean.
A fantastic title.
But yeah, and he was appointed governor of any and all lands he discovered, given 1/10 of all revenue from those lands. So yeah, he sold that up quite well.
Yeah, because I don't think they were expecting him to find anything, but they said that it included pearls, precious stones, gold, silver, spices, or any other object that he acquired within the new
Which
territory.
also meant people.
Yes. And the idea was that before he left, the belief was he had noble intentions, and those noble intentions turned to something very, very different when
Approach with wealth.
Approach with wealth and power. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Absolutely.
So he got back in 1493, early 1493. So his second voyage was 1493 to 1496.
Speak up. Yeah.
Columbus left the port of Cadiz on 24th September 1493 with a fleet of 17 ships. So he only set off with 3 the first time.
Yeah.
This time, like, we know where we're going. We've got they've got slaves, they've got gold, they've got spices, they've got food we've never seen before. We're taking 17 ships, 1,200 men, and the supplies to establish a permanent colony in the New World.
That's right.
Modern studies suggest that the crew members may have included 3 black Africans who arrived in the New World about a decade before the slave trade began.
Do you know who? just as well. So he'd been. So this is the thing that the thing that blew my mind a little bit was he'd been, come back and gone. Loads of good shit over here, and some of his passengers were priests.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gone over there going, I can spread some Christian freedom.
Yeah, we can convert these to the church.
Yeah, but along with the priests, this is the irony for me. Now maybe I'm looking at it through a 21st century lens, but this is the irony. Alongside the priests who are going, I am God-fearing, I'm going to spread Christianity, were hundreds of fucking soldiers going, if they don't listen to your Christianity, we'll fucking make them listen to your Christianity.
Don't forget, right, the Pope is the, because it's about the Catholic Church here.
Yeah, a Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Pope, yeah.
So, the Pope is God's representative on earth,
Yes.
but he isn't picked by God.
But he's the voice of God and
Enacts God's will,
yes.
but he's picked by man.
Correct.
He's picked by the cardinals. Now, what do you think your chances are of becoming Pope if you're the father of a church in Cadiz?
Not that great.
What do you think your chances are becoming Pope if you travel to a new land and convert it all to Catholicism?
There's a smidgen more chance. A little bit.
These priests were corrupt with power as well.
Of course they were.
They didn't give a fuck, like, right, convert to Christianity, convert to Catholicism, or my mate with a gun's going to stab you. He's going to fucking stab you with a blade on the end of his gun because we're not going to waste a bullet on you.
Now, let's not forget that's how most religions were spread at that point.
Yeah.
By fear.
Look at Roman Catholic Church was spread by the Romans.
Yeah, I mean, and Islam was the same across that period. Christianity was very much butchering
the Ottoman Empire was yeah.
Convert or die.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, it's when you go and like, oh, you look at, I think it is through 21st century. It's going, well, these priests should be peaceful and like they're not today's missionaries. They're not these white saviours that are going to African countries and going, we can build you a well and bring you water if you believe in the word of God. Kind of the same thing. Like you don't convert, we're not building you a well, dickhead.
Gonna fucking die of thirst.
Yeah. But yeah, they would corrupt as fuck. They're just going, we get the power, we get the fucking control. That's what they were after. Religion wasn't about being God-fearing and thing. It was about the elites in control, the priesthood having been a ruling class.
And it was definitely a caste society.
I mean, don't forget, back at that time as well, you had kings and queens all over Europe that was shit scared of the Pope in Italy.
Not Henry VIII.
Well, no, he's the one
like,
that...
fuck you, I'm gonna...
But everybody else was.
I'm gonna do King James Bible.
You know, you're the king of a nation, you're the absolute authority of a nation, but you bow and kiss the ring of the Pope.
On his finger.
Yeah, the one on his finger. So yeah, it's like I'm not really. I think you are looking through a 21st century lens there. Like these priests are peaceful missionaries. They're not. They're corrupt fuckers. I mean, don't get the Spanish Inquisition used to torture people, and they were priests. They were members of the cloth that tortured people.
But they were getting.
We had it in witchfinders in England.
But this is how you spread the word of God. The word of God was spread through fear. Whatever your iteration of God was, whether it was...
Do you believe in God or do you want this red up poker up your arse? Oh yeah, I believe in God, mate. Yeah, I totally believe in him. I think now's a good time to circle back to your list of why Columbus is a cunt.
This is the favourite part of the video.
I know earlier on you were going to go into it early and you went, I'll hold it back. I think this is the perfect time for it now.
So, normally I'd go to 1892, 1894, 1896 and talk about his voyages, but do you know what? I think it's probably just a good time to go, here's the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, let's stop the Cliff Notes. Go on.
So,
I've got one, it's not in my notes here, unless it's further down, I've got to it yet, but I've got one about a woman that he gave away.
I'll go number one.
Well then.
So, this is late breaking part of news. Number one. Columbus kidnapped a Caribbean woman and gave her to a crew member to rape.
Yeah.
So,
was it his excuse for she was a bit too feisty and needed a will breaking?
well, I will tell you.
Go on.
So, it's a Bergin quotes Michael de Cuneo. Now, Michael de Cuneo, I think, was a I need to remember who Michael de Cunha is. But he had a diary, and he basically explained what had happened. So Michael de Cunha, he participated in the expedition up to the Americas on the second expedition.
Yeah.
And what he said was, while I was in the boat, I captured a very beautiful woman, whom the Lord Admiral Columbus gave to me. When I'd taken her to my cabin, she was naked, as was their custom. So they were naked the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I was filled with desire to take my pleasure with her and attempted to satisfy my desire. She was unwilling, and so treated me with her nails, and I wished I'd never begun. I then took a piece of rope, whipped her soundly, and let her forth such incredible screams that you would not even believe your ears. Eventually, she came to such terms. I assure you that you would have thought she'd been brought up in a school for whores.
Jesus Christ.
Now,
I see this woman, I liked her, so good old Lord Admiral Columbus gave it to me.
you can have her. Yeah.
So I took her to my quarters, tried my way with her, but she didn't want it. So I whipped her, and then we came to terms. He didn't come to terms, mate. She wanted the fucking whipping to stop. Rape was easier than whipping. And then he went, oh, well, honestly, you thought she'd been brought up in a school for whores. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Unbelievable.
Jesus.
You brought this up. I'm going to say this now. I've got 2 daughters, right? And a son, who I would bring them up respectfully.
I've got 2 sons who I brought up to respect and honour women. You know, it's...
It doesn't matter if this was 14th, 15th, 16th century. It doesn't matter.
There is no... I know we were talking about slavery and looking through a 15th century lens because it's time and... This is not good in any time.
It was never good in any time. This was never acceptable in any period.
But it's Columbus's ship, it's Columbus's law. And he's alright with this.
And he was like, you could take her.
Yeah, you have her, she's mine to give away.
So, the first thing you'd say is, he was... In today's law, I mean, it's not the same thing, but in today's law, you'd be in prison for years and years because it's trafficking.
Yeah.
It's slavery. It's sexual slavery. Like,
it's a fucking pimp.
He's a pimp going, take her with that money, you know. But that's the. This do you want to know what that might make you smile with hate?
Mm.
This is not even the worst. This is far from the worst.
For fuck's sake, off the go on them.
So you know about number 2. You've already mentioned it. But on Hispaniola, a member of Columbus' crew publicly cut off an Indian's ear to shock others. So after an attack by more than 2,000 Indians, Columbus had an underling, Alonso de Ojeda, who brought him to 3 Indian leaders, whom Columbus had ordered publicly beheaded. Ojeda ordered his men to grab another Indian, bring him to the middle of the village, and cut off his ears in retribution for the Indians failing to be helpful to the Spaniards when fording a stream. So he
They wanted to cross a stream, and the natives wouldn't help them. So he beheaded 3 of them and cut off the ears of another one.
in the middle of the village.
So the whole village could see, and...
You listen to me, or this is your consequence.
Well, that guy can't listen to you, cut his fucking ears off.
You can still hear it. Yeah.
But, yeah, all because he couldn't cross a stream. Can you not get your own men to fjord a stream? Are your soldiers not able to put some fucking stones and wood down?
Yeah.
It's a stream, can you not jump across it? No, we have to behead 3 people and cut their ears off because my soldiers are above doing this, and you won't help us.
And that was... So, again, Columbus didn't do it, but it was under his stewardship.
He ordered them to be brought to him for beheading.
He did.
He might not have ordered the ears cutting off, but he didn't fucking abolish him for it.
And there's more.
And if this guy thinks that's an okay thing to do, that's because the things he's seen under Columbus's command and the culture that Columbus has created that means this is an acceptable thing to do.
I do think at this point, though, probably at this point, that it's basically men who were under Columbus's stewardship had lost respect for him and kind of run right a little bit. And he was like, the best way to keep my troops under control is to kind of acquiesce and give them what they want, because then they'll listen to me more.
You think it's getting a bit Wild West at this point?
Yeah, it definitely is Wild West. Yeah.
Soldiers are going, why am I taking orders from you? I can just fucking walk 3 mile over that way and set my own village, dickhead.
And I can check out all these women, why am I listening to you?
Why am I listening to you?
So it kind of gets to the point as to where he's like, okay, to maintain...
Kind of lost control a bit.
I'll give you what you want. But
Yeah.
it's not right under any circumstance. Number 3, sorry. Columbus kidnapped and enslaved more than 1,000 people in Hispaniola. Now, slavery. So America, before you even start, the founding fathers of America had slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So slavery here, America was built on people who had slaves. They might treat them nicely,
Yeah, but it was still...
but they're still slaves. It wasn't illegal.
Yeah,
It was still a legal
people talk
thing.
about the Civil War was to abolish slavery, but it actually wasn't. It was about a republic over independence. And
Yeah.
it was about are we an independent public or do we stay ruled by the crown?
We kind of brought this up on a video. When this gets released, it's still what we released. The Georgia Guidestones talked about it.
We've still got that to come out. Yeah.
So
But yeah, so like people like to romanticise the Civil War was about ending slavery. It wasn't. It was about is America independent from the British crown. That's what the war.
ultimately,
That's ultimately what it was. Inside of that was, North, East, South slave owners. George Washington was a slave owner when he wrote the American Constitution. Although he wrote it to phase out slavery. The Constitution was wrote to phase out slavery over time.
yeah,
But he was a slave owner at the time.
it was.
To abolish slavery would have lost him a lot of money, but if you phase out over time, then he can manage the loss. So yeah, the founding fathers was not all of them, but some of them were. George Washington was a slave owner, but he knew in 10 years' time slavery won't be a thing.
But it was still built with. The thing is, though, it was still legal.
Yeah.
It wasn't an illegal act,
No.
but it was an unethical act.
Yeah.
But according to Cuneo, Columbus ordered 1,500 men and women who were seized, letting 400 go, and sent 500 to Spain, with another 600 being enslaved by Spanish men remaining on the island. 200 of the 500 sent to Spain died on the voyage and were thrown into the Atlantic under the stewardship of the steamship.
Yeah, I mean that's a slave trade thing at the time, wasn't it? Horrific conditions. One person gets dysentery, it spreads through the ship. They all fucking die. You just throw them overboard to stop the spread of dysentery. Rather keep a dead body there that spreads more disease, you throw it overboard because they're not human. They're slaves. They're not human. That's how they looked at. That's how they looked at them.
And the next thing has got some. For me personally, when I read the next thing out, is it probably rings true to you regarding some biblical and historical things that happen here as well. Columbus forced Indians to collect gold for him or die. Now, originally he didn't leave to look for gold, but when he found it...
Yeah, I mean, he originally left to find a quick passage to the Orient to get spices.
Yeah.
That, it was fucking wrong, as all the experts were saying before he set off. You're thinking too small, mate, it's a lot bigger than that. But when he landed in the Bahamas and Hispaniola and stuff, it's like, there's no spice here, there's a fucking lot of gold. Fuck, there's loads of gold. And didn't he kill people or dismember them if they didn't bring their daily allowance of gold back?
I'm not going to get into that, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So Columbus ordered every Indian...
Just for myself personally, can we just replace Indian with native?
Yes.
Columbus called them Indians because he thought it was in Asia.
Well, I'm talking Columbians to speak, but yes,
Yeah,
we'll call
let's call them natives. I think it's a bit more respectful. Just call them natives because it's like American Indians, and it's all because Columbus thought they were in Asia.
Yeah.
So he named them Indians. So yeah, just natives.
Columbus ordered every native over 14 to give large quantities of gold to the Spanish on pain of death. Those in regions with that much gold were allowed to give cotton instead. So that's the slave trade of cotton slave trade came next. Participants in this system were given a standard copper or brass token to wear around their neck, which became a symbol of intolerable shame. Now, that is biblical.
Right.
So the Star of David, you had to. It became a Nazi thing. You were fucking stamped with this intolerance. You had a tattoo. You had.
Yeah, I mean the Jews have the Star of David armband to wear during Nazi occupation.
Yeah, and you got
the pig triangle.
And this intolerant thing. So tattoo within the gas chambers. It's like, you know. It's a continuation of you are a caste society. You are nothing. You are shameful. We are the society. You're nothing to us. And if you couldn't bring your gold, you had to wear this thing around your neck. And in fact, most of the time, when he forced the Indians to leave their settlements, or not the Indians, apologies, we've already discussed the natives, to leave their settlements to go forage for gold. And it meant that when they were doing so, they weren't looking after their crops, they weren't looking after their family, the crops all died, became pestilent, and he didn't give a shit.
He didn't give a shit about that, he just wants the gold, he's taking the gold back, and he's about to live in Cadiz, so it's fine.
And if you couldn't give your daily quota of gold, you had to wear this thing around your neck to say, I'm a failure.
I'm a shit worker. And then you get, I don't know, probably not the case, but you finish your shift down gold mine, go for a fucking nice cold beer afterwards with lads. Lads don't want to sit with you because you've got that medallion around your neck.
Exactly.
We're not talking, so now you're shunned and ostracised by your social group. I'm probably go for a beer after work, I'm using it as an example, but your friendship groups, your social groups. Yeah, but your friendship groups, your social groups now don't want to know you because you've got this token around your neck, and I don't want to. I'm a good worker. I bring my gold home every day.
I don't want the Spanish.
I don't want Spanish think I'm part of you. I don't want them looking at me like I had just reached my quota yesterday. I don't be next to you, mate. I've seen me hang around with you. I'm gonna get that fucking tomorrow. Like no.
Now, the next one is. This is probably, out of all of them, this kind of.
Fuck me, sorry, I know we don't read each other's research, I've just read the headline that you've got there, I think number 5.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
So this, I don't know, this is probably the hardest one, because it was by choice. And so, around about 50...
It's said by choice, but it's not much of a choice.
But if you imagine, 1500...
I think it's a protest.
Oh, yeah. So 1500s, how many people were in the world? Less than 1 billion. 500 million maybe. Would you say? Let's say 1 billion, right?
I reckon probably closer to 500 million.
It wasn't many. We've doubled. Like, I think 1900 was only less than 1.2 billion or something, wasn't there?
I think you're closer. Maybe 4 or 5. Probably about 300 million at that point. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's just say 500 million for the sake.
Yeah, it's 500 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
10% of the world's population we're talking about now.
Yeah, 50,000 people.
50,000. So again, we're replacing Indians with natives. 50,000 natives committed mass suicide rather than comply with the Spanish. The natives destroyed their stores of bread, so that neither they nor the invaders would be able to eat. They plunged off cliffs, they poisoned themselves with roots, they starved themselves to death. Oppressed by the impossible requirements to deliver tributes of gold, the natives were no longer able to tend their fields or care for their sick, children or elderly. They had given up and committed mass suicide to avoid being killed or captured by Christians, and to avoid sharing their land with them, their fields, groves, breaches, forests and women, and the future of their people. So they thought the easiest way out is to starve myself to death.
I've got 3 choices. I can mine gold and make my daily quota that is becoming increasingly impossible. Because if they want 10 grams of gold today, they're going to want 12 tomorrow, and 14 next day, and 16 day after.
I'm just going to find the world populace, what you're saying.
So the gold is like, you got 10 grams today, we want 11 tomorrow, we want 12, we want 13, we want 40. So it's going to get increasingly impossible. So I'm not doing that. We've got the gold. If you don't mine gold, then you get sold into slavery. Well,
461 million. So this is more than 10% of the whole world.
No, 10%.
Was it 1%?
It'd be 460,000. Yeah.
1%.
So 1%. Yeah,
So
1%.
My maths is gone.
Just under 1% of the world population.
Yeah.
Still a fucking big number.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, you've got three choices: mine gold at an ever increasingly impossible requirement, be sold as a slave, or kill yourself. It's not much of a choice, but killing yourself is a political choice. If that many of you are doing it, and you're wrecking the fucking fields and the farms before you go, like I'm gonna fucking trash my bread stores, I'm gonna fucking trash my fucking field, I'm gonna poison myself and die. Like, fuck you, dickhead, I'm out of here. It's
very V for Vendetta, isn't it? So
tip my hat to them. It's horrific, but I'll tip my Stetson to them. Like, I'd like to think in that situation I'd have the fucking strength to do the same, to be honest. But yeah, it's horrific.
So
people in a situation where they'd rather fucking destroy everything and kill themselves than carry on the life you're giving them.
And again, it's not necessarily specific to Columbus, because I think he lost control, but it was still under
Columbus's rule,
and he brought that to the island.
Well, he set the fucking gold mining up and sold slaves. So yeah, I'd say it's directly under him, whether he lost control or not. Before he lost control, he set the gold mining up. He set selling slaves up.
Now, so before I get into point 6, now I know we've got to this point now. Should we be? In fact, I'll ask the question after that, because I think it's more important after. Actually, I'll ask the rest, and then I think that's going to be a discussion point. Actually, quite a serious discussion point. Actually, so we're going to go to the next one. So it says 56 years after Columbus's first voyage, only 500 out of 300,000 indigenous remained on the Hispaniola. Only 500.
So, when he first landed, there was a population of 300,000 native people.
Yeah.
And 56 years later, there was only 500 left.
Yeah.
He's not a tyrant, he's a genocidal maniac. That's genocide.
Yeah.
You were wiped out. What's the fucking percentage of that?
So it says here, so population figures from 500 years ago are pretty imprecise. It says
Yeah, but it's not like that a sense and stuff, but
the estimate was there was about 300,000 inhabitants of Hispaniola in 1492. And so between 1494 and 1496, 100,000, so 33% of the population died after.
no,
Yeah, so between 1494 and 1496,
100,000 died.
so within 4 years of arriving, a third of the population had died.
Half due to mass suicide. In 1508, the population was down to 60,000. By 1548, it was estimated to be only 500. Fucking hell! Is there any natives left on Hispaniola?
So it said, understandably, some natives fled to the mountains to avoid the Spanish troops, only to have dogs set upon them by Columbus's men.
Which, it's not a big leap to suggest Columbus ordered that.
But it's his men.
It's his men, they're following his
He
orders.
may have lost control, but it's still his stewardship.
Yeah.
You know.
If it's not his orders, he set up that culture where it's perfectly acceptable to do that.
Yeah.
Or allowed that culture to blossom.
Number 7 is also, he wasn't just a cunt. Yes, I always term cunt, and if it upsets you, I'm fucking sorry, cunt.
If you're upset by me saying the word cunt, I'm quite upset by the fact he wiped out 300,000 natives down to 500. I'm upset that 50,000 people committed suicide rather than live under his fucking rule. Right? We're putting all this out and you're upset by the word cunt. Go look in the mirror and have a fucking word with yourself.
No. Quite simply, if you're upset by the word cunt, it means you really are a cunt. But it wasn't. He didn't just cause trouble for the indigenous people. Also, as you brought up earlier, when they went, "You're a cunt," from the Spanish.
So he hung half his crew.
He said it was also pretty terrible to his own Spanish people.
Yeah, I mean he hung half his crew because they were trying to mutiny.
So he said, it pales in comparison, realistically.
Yeah.
But he said he ordered at least a dozen Spaniards to be whipped in public, tied by the neck, bound together by their feet, for trading gold for food. So the Spanish were going, if you give me your gold, I'll give you some food, to the indigenous people. And they're like, no, can't have that shit.
Have my gold. Give me my gold back.
Yeah. What do you think you're doing? Feeding
I
these
pay
indigenous
you.
people.
I pay you to get my gold. You don't take gold, you send.
And don't feed the indigenous.
Yeah,
They
we're
can have
limiting
the
their
gold.
food. They get enough food every day.
Listen, ultimately, if they're not fucking happy, they can commit suicide with the rest of the cunts. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it said. So, another woman was stripped and placed in the back of a donkey to be whipped as punishment for falsely claiming to be pregnant. He ordered Spaniards to be hanged for stealing bread, which, quite frankly, that was
That was a typical
common,
Yeah.
a common thing. So I'm not going to have him destroyed for that. You've mentioned this already. He even ordered the ears and nose of a particular miscreant. Was whipped, shackled, and banished from the island. He ordered.
We want to banish from the island. Was sold into slavery. Yeah.
He ordered a cabin boy's hand nailed in public to the spot where he'd pulled a trap from a river and caught a fish. So I'm thinking to myself, no, I don't fucking think so.
No.
Whippings for minor infractions occurred while alarming frequency. Columbus ordered one wrongdoer to receive 100 lashes, which could be fatal, for stealing a sheep, and another for lying about it.
The man's a fucking madman.
And a lucky fellow named Juan Moreno received 100 lashes for failing to gather enough food for Columbus's pantry.
And you celebrate this guy, America?
This
What
is
the fuck is wrong with you?
Now, I'm not going to let you read the next one,
Go on.
right? But
I'm going to look this way while you read
how
it
old am
out.
I? So you know, how old are my daughters?
7?
That's my first one. My other one's nearly 10.
Nearly 10. Yeah, if you've got 7 of the twin boy and girls.
Yeah.
And then 10 year old, yeah.
So my daughter's 10 in 2 weeks. So by the time this video goes out, it'll be 4 days till my daughter's 10. And my other daughter will be 8, 4 weeks after. So realistically, when this video goes out, I've got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
So this one says, this gets me the most, this one.
Right. So I'm getting angry at the end of the fucking rest, but go on.
Settlers under Columbus sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sexual slavery. He admitted it himself in the Dona Juan del Toro, a friend of the Spanish Queen. There are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls, those from 9 to 10 are now in demand, and for all ages a good price must be paid. So he himself admitted 9 to 10-year-olds would be sold to a decent bidder for a sex slave.
So is a slave trader, a pimp, a genocidal maniac, a sadomasochist, and a paedophile?
In 21st century lens, yes.
Yeah. You guys celebrate him.
So this one's quite personal, really, because again, you know, I've got 2 girls, and same age, and the thought, like I'm looking at my 9-year-old who's nearly 10, thinking she's so innocent to the world that this just blows my mind that this is okay. I cannot even. It's incomprehensible, absolutely incomprehensible to me that I've got a 10-year-old girl, nearly 10-year-old girl, and that she'd be physically, emotionally ready for anything like this whatsoever. What the emotional and physical impact of the rest of her life would be, and the fact that just she'd be one of the 50,000 at 14 years old just jumping off a bridge. Because how could you even consider that life would be okay after that point? It's absolutely, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says, right? I know we're talking for 21st century. This was not right in the 15th century. This was not right in the 16th century. This is, under Christian rule, how is this okay. It's not okay under any rule.
I was going to make a joke about altar boys and priests then, but it's not the right place for it.
But it hasn't stopped.
Anyone that watches this channel regularly knows that I tend to. I enjoy getting angry. I like flying off and getting angry at things, and this should be something I'm getting angry at, and I'm not. I'm just sat here quietly, and it's not because I'm not angry. I'm just seething with rage. This is you know you get out of anger, and there was like anger, you just got that cold fucking rage. Like this is. You guys celebrate this guy. America, you celebrate this guy. And then have the fucking cheek to call yourself the land of the free while having this cunt as a national holiday. Shake your fucking heads.
One more. I mean, it's not as deep and dark as that one because that's really personal, that one, to be fair. So number 9. Indian slaves. Sorry. I'm just reading from the
Gosh, you're reading it, yeah.
Apologies. Native slaves were beheaded when the Spanish captors couldn't be bothered to untie them. So Benjamin Keene, a historian of the Spanish conquest of the Americas, noted that multiple sources confirmed accounts of exhausted native carriers chained by the neck, whose heads the Spaniards severed from their bodies, so they didn't have to stop to untie them. So they're walking them, they're fucking tired, it's like just fucking lock the head off. We don't have to stop, we'll keep on walking. A deterrent for everybody else, you'll keep on walking, no matter how fucking tired you are.
The minute you slow down, you lose your head.
Yeah.
This is, again, even through 15th century lens of slavery's legal and it's ordained by God and all that shit, this is barbaric. You can see why the king fucking arrested him and brought him home in chains on his own ship and shame.
It's weird though that he knew all this and went, I think you can still make me rich.
Well, I'm gonna get into the 4th voyage because he did all this, and this is why he got arrested, chained up, sent home in shame on his own ship, and then for all of this, he spent 6 weeks in prison, and then set off on another voyage.
I'd like to get to your point. I just want to make one more. I don't have much more after this. So, there's a young Catholic priest named Bartolome de las Casas, transcribed Columbus's journals and later wrote about the violence he'd witnessed. The fact that such crimes could potentially go unnoticed by generations was deeply troubling to him, so he expanded upon the extent of Columbus's trade.
A minute, we keep going about, we're looking at 15th century society through a 21st century lens. Someone in the 15th century went, this is deeply troubling.
Yes, absolutely. So he expanded upon the extent of Columbus's reign of terror with his multi-volume book entitled The History of the Indies. Now, to be very sure, me and you always going about, if there's a book involved, the money.
Yeah, this wasn't.
There was no money made here.
No.
This is different. He said, there were 60,000 people living on this island, including the natives. So that from 1494 to 1508, over 3 million people had perished from war, slavery, and the mines. Who in future generations will believe this? I myself, writing it as a knowledgeable eyewitness, can hardly believe it. So he's saying there was over 3 million people, and they were down to 60,000 after only 14 years after he turned up.
This is just... There's no fucking words.
Now, I'm going to say this, and I brought this myself, right, and I brought this as well. People keep saying to me, well, I read a lot of this about people who were saying about Christopher Columbus. They're saying, you need to remember, he was a product of his time, right?
The man of his time, a Catholic priest of his time, is going, this Catholic priest who believed if you weren't baptised, you weren't human, therefore could be sold into slavery, and the Catholic priest is recording this going, this is fucking wrong.
Let me ask you a question.
The Catholic priest of the time is saying it was wrong.
Okay, let me ask you a question. In the year 2450, we're going forward in time. Do you think people 500 years after the fact will go back and go, Hitler was a man of his time? Or Stalin was a man of his time.
No,
Pol
no,
Pot
no.
was a man of his time.
No, they committed a horrific atrocity. Even now, it's like what we're nearly 100 years away from Hitler. In
80 years. Well, 75.
no, in what in
It was 1930.
18 years time.
Yeah.
It'll be 100. No, 16 years time. It'll be 100 years since Hitler came to power.
Yeah, but it's 25 years time since he first started the Holocaust. But.
Yeah, but it's, so 100 years time. We don't look back on that now. Like it's almost 82 years ago when Hitler came to power. We don't look back at it and go, well, he was a product of his time, wasn't he?
No. Or I think Hitler, we don't go, he was a product of his time. Or Pol Pot or Stalin, we don't go product of the time.
We just had the German election a couple of weeks ago. Right? Now their parliament is really complicated how it's put together. Right? So it's always a coalition, I think, is the German parliament. Because for the simple fact is, we've had 2 world wars and Germany started both of them. So they've changed their parliamentary system so they can never do it again. It's always a coalition.
Yeah.
That's because, you know, we started 2 world wars, we're not going to start a 3rd. But we don't look back and go, well, like Germany, we look at Germany today as an economic leader. It's a financial, it's the Bank of Europe, but pretty much is Germany.
It's doing an incredible job of rising from the Second World War ashes.
Yeah, you could argue, I know there's some far right will argue that the Germany's economic control of Europe is the Fourth Reich, but they're far right.
That's a different video.
Yeah. But you know, we don't paint Germans today with the brush of Hitler. But at the same point, we don't go, well, Hitler was a product of his time. No, Hitler was fucking evil.
Anybody who says Columbus was a product of his time need to remember that even the Spanish royalty were going, fucking hell, this has gone far too far. Even they were like, this is fucking bad.
Arrested him, threw him in prison, and then let him out for like 6 weeks later for another voyage.
But on his own boat, it's like, bring it back on his own boat. This guy, he's fucked. He's absolutely fucked. And as you said earlier in the video, it's like, you can go back, but you're a naughty man. He's got no power.
His third voice went like, you can go back, but you're not a governor. But we'll send you back again on a 4th voyage, but you're not being a governor. I'm like, what the fuck?
So, Badger, I've really, realistically, and that's, I've got through most of them. That is not comprehensive.
No,
but
no.
that is.
That's like his top 10 of his worst crimes.
Yeah, I'd say. That's well rounded.
It paints a picture, a definitive picture of the man.
Yeah. Now, as I said, not necessarily they were committed by Columbus, but it was
under his rule or in the cult that he created,
yeah,
or under his orders.
Yeah.
So yeah, after all that, he was transported. He was put in chains, put aboard the LaGuardia, his own ship. They returned to Spain and lingered in jail for 6 weeks before King Ferdinand ordered their release. Got 6 weeks for that. Now I'm guessing 6 weeks in a 15th century prison is fucking horrific. But he's also one of the king's favourites, so I bet it would treat well.
Yeah, quite noble.
Yeah. So 6 weeks before King Ferdinand ordered their release. Not long after, the King and Queen summoned Columbus brothers to Alhambra Palace in Granada. There the royal couple heard the brothers' pleas, restored their freedom and wealth, and after much persuasion, agreed to fund Columbus's 4th voyage. But the door was firmly shut on Columbus's role as a governor. So, his 4th voyage, 1502 to 1504. Columbus made a 4th voyage nominally in search of the Strait of Malaga to the Indian Ocean. Accompanied by his brother Bartolomeo and his 13-year-old son Fernando, he left Cadiz on 11th May 1502 with his flagship Santa Maria and the vessels Galaga, Vizcaya and Santiago de Palos. He sailed to Azilla on the Moroccan coast to rescue Portuguese soldiers whom he had heard were under attack by the Moors. On 15th of June, they landed at Cadiz on the island of Martinique. A hurricane was brewing, so he continued on, hoping to find shelter on Hispaniola. He arrived at Santo Domingo on 29th of June, but was denied port. And don't get this on Hispaniola, the island he discovered, and they went, fuck off, you're not coming in.
You're a cunt.
We're not having you back here. Right? And the new governor refused to listen to his storm prediction. Instead, while Columbus's ships sheltered at the mouth of the Rio Jana, the first Spanish treasure fleet sailed into the hurricane. Columbus's ships survived with only minor damage, while 29 of the 30 ships in the governor's gold fleet were lost to storm on the 1st of July.
Wow.
In addition to the ships, 500 lives, including that of Francisco de Bobadilla, who we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
and an immense cargo of gold were surrendered to the sea.
Sunk.
Columbus left for Hispaniola on 16th of April, heading north. On 10th of May, he sighted the Cayman Islands, naming them Las Tortugas, after the numerous sea turtles there. His ships next sustained more damage in a storm off the coast of Cuba. Unable to travel further, on the 25th of June 1503, they were beached in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica. This is about how much of a cunt he was. We're going like, oh, it's through a 15th century, the 15th century lens though, at the time. Well, they wouldn't let him in port in the island he fucking found him.
You're not coming in, sunshine.
Right? He's had to beach his ships because they're just unsaleable now. For 1 year, Columbus and his men remained stranded on Jamaica.
He sounds like a pleasant person who would be welcomed.
A Spaniard, Diego Mendez, and some natives paddled a canoe to get help from Hispaniola. The governor, Nicolas de Ovando y Ciceres, detested Columbus and obstructed all efforts to rescue him and his men.
Good.
In the meantime, Columbus, in a desperate effort to induce the natives to continue provisioning him and his hungry men, won their favour by predicting a lunar eclipse for the 29th of February 1504, using Abraham Zacuto's astronomical charts. Help finally arrived, no thanks to the governor, on 29th of June 1504, and Columbus and his men arrived in San Lucas, Spain on 7th of November. So his fourth voyage was absolutely fucked. And he predicted, it shows his prowess as a sailor because he predicted the hurricane and they wouldn't let him into Hispaniola. And he's like, look, you need to let me in because I'm at the mouth of the harbour because it's protecting me from the hurricane that's coming. And if you don't let me in, the Spanish fleet, the gold fleet has to go past, you're going to lose the lot. And I went, no, not risk your lives, you're not coming in. Tell the Spanish fleet to keep moving. And they did, and 29 out of 30 ships.
It must have been a horrific storm to lose 29 ships.
Depends how close they are together, and but yeah,
The buoyancy.
but it's a hurricane, not a storm. It's a hurricane.
Yeah, no, but
Alright, but he predicted it and said it's coming, and they wouldn't listen to him, so he parked his ship over fucking mouth of harbour. But if you can let that Spanish fleet in, you have to let me in so they can come in. And they went, look, Spanish fleet can go on to the next port. We don't believe there's a hurricane coming. You're lying. Then the gold fleet got sunk, and then slaughtered and genocided natives, but he was stuck for a year because no one had come and rescue him.
it's very pleasant, you see.
And then he was really nice and predicted a lunar eclipse. So, oh, magic man, he commands the sky. Yeah, we'll help you.
Magic man, sky daddy. Yeah.
No, the moon's gonna go out tonight. No, the moon's always there. Watch. The moon went out. He must know. He's so the natives helped him then. Surprising he didn't fucking try to kill half of them first. So his later life I've got here.
Okay.
During a violent storm on his first return voyage, Columbus, then 41, suffered an attack of what was believed at the time to be gout. In subsequent years, he was plagued with what was thought to be influenza and other fevers, bleeding from the eyes, temporary blindness, and prolonged attacks of gout.
That's a funny COVID.
The attacks increased in duration and severity, sometimes leaving Columbus bedridden for months at a time, and accumulated in his death 14 years later.
55?
Yeah, about that I think.
But that would have been a very average day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it in that pit? So
That's into my notes now. That's it.
So I just want to quickly say as well, we mentioned earlier that there was a a Catholic guy who was writing that on the island there was 3 million people. By the time he left after several years, it was only 50,000 people. It wasn't because Columbus was slaughtered them all. Columbus
It sold them into slavery, or
well, there was that, but then they also brought in smallpox, diphtheria, influenza, pneumonia, typhoid, chickenpox, mumps. All these.
it was all the Eastern diseases that came to the Americas
Well,
that
the
never
European
existed
diseases,
there.
yeah. So they brought them into the Americas, and like we've never seen these diseases before, and they literally had absolutely no way to fight them.
And it wasn't even like, oh, you bring Spanish flu over to the UK. Well, we've got UK flu, so we've got some kind of resistance to it. Like, no, they had no influenza at all.
They'd never seen it before.
It never existed before.
So, you know, I mean, and it just basically ripped through their whole communities. It ripped through everything.
Yeah, I mean, this was the this what killed the Mayan civilization from the conquistadors. The Spanish conquistadors went into the Mayan civilization, didn't they? And smallpox. Well, they killed a lot of them, but smallpox killed more, and influenza and common cold, like shit like that, just wiped them out.
It was 100%, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's. Do we need to have. Why is Christopher Columbus revered then? So that was a question you asked me. Put this as a double header.
Yeah. So
does he believe he? What was the question? Does he believe? Does that believe he discovered America?
No.
No.
Not at all.
He never set foot on it. He got near it once and mistook it for Asia, so carried on. Oh no, I think there was a bit where he set foot on South America.
He might have.
But
you know.
But yeah, and
do you believe that it should be revered?
does I believe he should be revered?
No. Stop laughing. So the one thing I would say is, in hindsight, due to Christopher Columbus, if we take all the fucking war crimes, the Milosevic's war crimes out of the equation, Christopher Columbus's importance is it was still a really perilous journey to go there 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
It was still a marvel that he could do such a thing.
Great seafaring captain.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say great captain, but because he hung half his crew at one point, but a great sailor, a great navigator,
and
opened up so many economic routes for Europe.
Yes.
Well, for Spain in particular, but yeah.
So with that, let's put that into context. So whilst he didn't find America himself, because Americas were found beforehand, but we've already devised. There's a couple of people who probably found it beforehand. He was pretty much, him and his armada that went out there were the sole reason why trade between the Americas we see today and Europe was found. He found a route there and back. Consistently found a route there and back.
Yeah, I mean,
he was able to create trade.
He first went out with 3 ships. His second voyage went with 17 ships.
So
you know, it's you don't commit 17 ships to a voyage unless you know they're going to make it. And then the Spanish fleet that got lost in the hurricane was a fleet with 30 ships because they were following Columbus's route that he planned.
So in that perspective, let's put it into the perspective. Let's forget about everything else we talked about the last hour and a half, 2 hours. The perspective of just for now, just to try and argue more than one side. In the perspective of he accidentally found the Americas, but could make his way there and back more than once to create this route.
No one else had ever done that.
So he created a route to a foreign land, and over the next few hundred years, trade routes were created, and not slavery was, but trade routes were created. Were able to go back and forth with a way to get there, navigation. Never mind the fact he thought he saw UFOs on mermaids, but we got there and back. And should that be revered? Should that scientifically go?
No, it fucking shouldn't. That's like going, oh well, yeah, Fred West killed a lot of people, but he fucking Great Lane patios one, he should remain for his building work.
No.
Joseph Fritzl held his daughter for 20 years in his basement, but he built a fucking sex dungeon with no one knowing. Should that be revered for his building work? And his complicity?
I'm asking you to a tiny thing. I agree with you completely, but I'm asking regarding reverence.
Hitler wiped out fucking millions of Jews, but we're vegetarians, so we're climate change friendly. Shouldn't we revere him for that?
I could go all day. I'm asking for the so for the American people who do revere Christopher Columbus, who even know about the story for
Alright.
his ability to find Americas, and because he found them, Europe and America became connected, created trade routes, created mass colonization of the Americas from Europe, and America became America because of the ways that we eventually found the ways to get there comfortably and find the navigational route. That had never been done before.
So what you're saying is, Christopher Columbus should be revered in America because he made Spain rich.
Well, he did. What? He made Spain rich. I'm asking. I'm fucking trying here, Patrick. I'm fucking trying my hardest.
America as it exists today would not have existed today if Columbus hadn't wiped out 95% of the native population of the Americas.
Yes!
Is that where we're trying to get?
Should that be revered? The answer is no. No, it should have been revered. No, but he created.
Just like America wouldn't exist today if the British hadn't gone and wiped out the Native Americans.
America, fuck yeah!
I've only got one question. If America is still having Columbus Day and revering this man in a national holiday, my question is, what the fuck is wrong with you?
A lot.
I don't have anything else.
But let's. I'm gonna play. I don't believe it, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
It's like going, Hitler wiped out the Jews, but he did great for the German economy.
In the 1500s, right? So when Britain ruled Britannia, 75% of the world was because with the best technology, we were able to take it to places that didn't have guns.
It was the Navy.
Yeah.
It ran Navy. That's what it was. That's why rule Britannia rules the waves.
Yeah,
It was. We had the superior Navy. We wiped out the Spanish Armada. We beat. We won the Battle of Waterloo.
But there was at one point we'd colonised more than the Roman Empire ever did. Right?
Yeah, I mean, at the height of the British Empire, we had 1/3 of the world.
75%.
75%. Oh, I thought it was 1/3.
So
yeah.
we owned 3/4 of the world. We had a footprint in 3/4 of the world. So, but that was by Iron Fist rule. That was by fear. That was by
I was creating things like the Maharaja in India and stuff like this. I'm not, I'm not a British Empire apologist, but I'm not a supporter of it either.
Well,
The British Empire brought good to the world, but it brought good to the world by a lot of bad.
Yeah, I mean, the world.
It was.
If you look at our Parliament and how we have, how the Magna Carta was created and how we brought rights to people, that was shared around India specifically.
It's like the Roman Empire rolled over fucking Europe and the world and
created roads
and killed fucking so many people and Christians thrown to tigers for entertainment and stuff like that. But roads and aqueducts and so it's not the British Empire isn't completely evil, just like the Roman Empire isn't completely evil. Christopher Columbus was completely evil. I can't see anything he brought to the Americas apart from slavery, suicide, genocide, and making Spain rich. What did the natives get? Those native countries would have been better off if Columbus never discovered them.
Oh, the natives would have been, without doubt. Yeah. However,
you can argue with the British Empire in like India and Africa. We brought. Yes, we had horrific crimes and horrific atrocities that could never be apologised for, quite frankly. But we brought democracy and sanitation and economy. So I'm not saying it balances out, but it's not all bad, right?
Yeah.
The Roman Empire devastated lands, ripped apart cultures, destroyed pagans in England, but brought aqueducts and roads and sanitation to a point as well, and some technology and stuff, chariots and things like that. So, yeah, there's some good in there amongst, there's like 2% of good amongst all the bad. There's no good here. What good did Columbus do to the natives?
Well, let's ask you this question. So, had Columbus not just appeared in the Americas, and the United States today wouldn't exist in the way that we see it, wouldn't have found it.
Yeah.
And if you think about what the United States has done, technologically wise, economically wise, and the good that they've brought to the world.
What is it? Is it been around for something like 94 years or 89 years, and has spent 8 of those not at war?
No, there is that. However, what I'm saying is, had Columbus not found the Americas, the United States of America wouldn't exist today as it is, because it wouldn't have been found.
Yeah.
And if you think about what the United States of America, they've got many flaws. They've done lots of genocidal acts in the name of fucking freedom. But for the main part, the people who live there are nice people, and they're genuinely trying to do the right things. They've got great medicine. They've created great medicine. No, not anymore. They sold it to China, but they've still created technologies, this, that, and the other. And they've still born lots of things from their society. And had Columbus not gone from Spain to the Americas, the United States of America and Canada wouldn't have been populated the way it is today. So the world would be a completely, vastly different place. So the argument is that...
You're not selling it to me.
No, but the argument is that had Columbus not done what he'd done, the world today would be vastly different. Good or bad, we don't really know what it would look like, but it would be a completely different place had he not made this intrepid journey. He was a twat and a cunt and an absolute thief and a fiend that we can't even consider. But by doing that journey and by fucking creating all those crimes that he did on the way, the Americas were populated because the rest of Europe went, oh, that one's got opportunity, I'm going to go over there. And then the rest of the Western world went, I'm off over to America because it seems like there's great opportunity there. Taking advantage of the opportunity, by the way. Killing off the Native Americans, 70 million of them died, but the world, had it not been for Columbus, wouldn't be the world it is today. That's the argument.
Yeah, you can make a wish Columbus had never discovered it.
I said devil's advocate.
You're not selling it. I know you're playing devil's advocate,
yeah.
But you're not selling it to me at all. Like, the Vikings landed 500 years before him. But this is stone. Oh, these are nice forests. Ooh, these are nice grapes. Ooh, let's go. No, they want to fight us. Alright, we'll sit back a bit. Vikings are renowned in history of being bloodthirsty warmongers.
But there weren't many of them.
And they went, oh no, we'll stand back a bit. They could have fucking gone back and got more, but they didn't. They just went, we're fine with this bit. Let the natives have that bit, we'll have this bit. And the natives went, stay up there and we'll leave you the fuck alone. Columbus went, oh, natives, get on my fucking ship, I'm going to go sell you. If you don't get on my ship, I'm going to cut your fucking ears off. Give you 100 lashes, and then the rest you're going to fucking come my ship willingly.
Try to be pragmatic.
I know you are, but no, that's like going, Hitler wiped out 6 million Jews, but he brought economic stability and German and nationalistic pride to Germany.
Fuck it.
It's an absolute cunt. I'm sorry, I can't see any argument for. Well, if we hadn't discovered America, then we wouldn't have America as we know it now. Is that a bad thing? They celebrate this cunt in the national holiday
because he made sure that they existed. So it's like.
All right, so you're selling me a world where America today doesn't exist. The America that we know today would be a Native American country.
What I'm saying is,
it wouldn't be 50 states. It'd be 70. It'd be 17 tribes.
I'm saying there's a butterfly.
Yes, I'll have that, please.
There's a butterfly.
Can I have that alternate reality?
So the butterfly effect is, let's just say that had Columbus not found it, it might have been 100 more years since somebody else found it, and that makes a vastly different landscape.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the argument. I'll take the 100 years different. I'll take... But no military-industrial complex. No fucking waging freedom all over the world.
Badger, stop being a dick. I agree with you. I'm just arguing the other side of the
But you're not arguing well!
I'm not
What
arguing.
argument can you give to this genocidal rapist? Paedophile genocidal rapist.
He's not Pol Pot.
No, I think Pol Pot were nice at some point. Pol Pot threw nice dinners.
He might have done it.
There's no record of that. No record Columbus did.
So I'm going to ask.
Adolf Hitler did some nice watercolour paintings. Bit sloppy on technique and not convicted to... No conviction, but... He did some nice tranquil watercolour paintings.
In your opinion, he went to Argentina and made babies.
But it's still there. As long, I didn't say he made babies, I think he just escaped there.
But I've tried to be fucking...
I refuse to try defend this cunt.
I wonder which side of the fence Badger might fall on.
I dare any American in the comments to tell me why you celebrate Columbus Day.
I can only assume, and this is the only thing...
I'm not even on about why they celebrate Columbus Day. He never found America. I'm past that shit. I don't care that he never stepped foot on continental America. Look at the fucking shit he did. Look at the person he wore, and you still want to celebrate him. Defend that. I fucking dare you.
I can only assume the celebration, which Roosevelt put in place, 1937, whatever it was, is because without Columbus, America would not have been founded. That's the only thing I could think of.
But it wasn't even his holiday. It was Italian-American heritage. So, not only did Columbus not set foot in America, discovered the Americas, committed genocide, slavery, barbaric torture, forced work of mining gold, but then when the Italians start celebrating his Italian-American heritage, Americans went, well, fucking have that as well then. Like, let's invoke the spirit of Columbus and steal off fucking native people.
Yeah, I'm not liking the story. Badger, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm not sure you've committed to an answer.
Go on. What's the question?
Ooh. Does that believe that Christopher Columbus should be revered?
I think he's on a hard rep over history, and I think we need to look at it through a 15th century lens and see that what we consider crimes today are not crimes then, and I'm taking the fucking piss. No, this guy should not. We shouldn't remember his fucking name. We shouldn't remember his fucking name. I never want to hear it again.
So to be absolutely precise, does that believe?
Christopher Columbus is a cunt. That believes.
So it shouldn't be revered?
No, not at all. And I think if you revere Christopher Columbus, you should be... do you know what? Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this, right? I'm against hate crime laws. Right? I absolutely detest hate crime laws. I think laws and crimes... Laws should be there to give punishment for crimes that are being enacted. Right? If I beat you up, I should get arrested for assault.
Yes.
If I rob a shop, I should get arrested for robbery. Hate crime is being arrested for what somebody believes you think.
Okay.
It's like thought crimes in 1980, but it's like, no.
Minority Report.
Yeah, it's Minority Report. I hate it. Like, oh yeah, I convince a judge that you hate Stetsons. That's why you beat me up. And I convince a judge of that, and that's, oh yeah, you're not only getting convicted for assault now, you're getting convicted for assault on what the court thinks, or what the court believes you were thinking. That's messy and awful, and I hate crimes. That being said, anyone who celebrates Columbus Day as a day of venerating this homicidal, paedophile, genocidal cunt should be arrested for a hate crime against humanity. Should go in front of the fucking Hague if you celebrate this holiday.
I'm still not getting your point. Are you against this man? Does I believe? You've not said it yet.
The fucking believes this guy's a cunt.
So does I believe he should be revered?
No, that does not believe.
Okay. I think he should be. Not revered!
I'm gonna say. There's a drawer full of fucking knives there, you.
I mean, quite frankly, I think even just on a personal level, I've talked to my daughters. I mean, I didn't want to get personal on fucking camera, but I've got 2 daughters, and I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. You fucking the year selling 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds into a sex slave because they can bring you money. That on its forget. Well, I'm not going to forget. I mean, that's fucking bad terminology.
Yeah.
But
put aside.
Irrespective to everything else, the hundreds of thousands of people that died, the slaves he kept, the treatment of the people there regarding go and get me gold, they're going to be fucking struck, killed in the street. Just having 2 daughters and having them sold into sex slaves and sex trades, and then having people here going in America going, this person should be revered. It should be celebrated. It blows my mind that.
You know, what was it? 500 years after Columbus. We're at now.
Pretty much.
About 520 years, and our police force today advise women to flag down buses or know the law better, or if a single policeman approaches them.
So let me
like. I'm angry at what the Met Police have said today, and then we've got this shit.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Sorry, no, I'm about the Met Police there. Just look up Wayne Couzens and Sarah Everard. You'll see why I'm angry.
So let me ask you a quick question. So, is he in the sex trade selling kids any different to Jeffrey Epstein?
Worse.
Would Jeffrey Epstein be revered to now as being like, he was fucking quality?
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't. Oh, but it's worse than Epstein, because Epstein was at least Epstein, right? But it was a secret thing amongst the elites of the world, the Clintons and the Prince Andrew.
Allegedly.
Well, we knew they were on those planes. We've seen the flight.
But allegedly they did stuff. Not
we know on the plane. We knew on the plane called the Lolita Express. We've seen the logbooks. We know they were on them. We know they visited the island.
Yes.
Right. It was in secret for the elites. He was bragging in the Spanish court that there's a market for these 9-year-old girls.
He wrote it himself.
He wrote it himself. He wasn't even ashamed by this.
No.
These people weren't human to him.
So, as I said, I showed you an hour ago what I wrote. Columbus is a tyrant.
I think you're being kind on him. I think you're being too kind on him. I think it's how you can have this man as a national holiday. And I'm not going to get into the argument of it was Italian American and then it's Indigenous Day. Yeah, yes, go with Indigenous Day. Do Indigenous People Day or Native American Day. You celebrate Columbus Day, you're a fucking cunt. His name should just be stripped from the record. Like any American out there, he never set foot on your land. He maybe possibly set foot on South America for a day to make camp before he set off again, right? He never set foot in the United States of America, right? And I know I'm going to America now, not continental America, but it's not continental America that celebrate this. They have Discovery Day or they should get rid of fucking that as well. But Discovery Day is at least, this is when we got discovered. They don't celebrate Columbus.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because of what he fucking did to them. He never set foot in the United States of America, and yet you celebrate Columbus Day. Why? This guy should be stripped from the fucking record of your history. He never set foot in the United States of America. He never visited any of your 50 states as they are now. right? Any of the land they occupy, he never went anywhere near. He's a murderous, genocidal, paedophilic cunt. Why would you want to celebrate this? It's like fucking...
But Badger, you're looking at it through a 21st century lens, not the 15th.
I don't give a fuck what lens I'm looking it through.
Oh dear.
They're not looking through any lens other than fucking blind.
You could ask me the question, or what?
Does thou believe Christopher Columbus should be revered?
Let me ask my kids. 10-year-olds, do you think this paedophile should be revered? What do you reckon? Do you reckon he should be? No. Yeah. Kids said no. Kids said no. Fuck me. I mean, Jesus Christ. Can you think of anybody else in history that has given this much reverence?
No.
Through being such a twat. I mean, well, look, in the UK, have we got anyone in the UK? Can you think of anybody?
Jimmy Savile?
We know.
While they were alive.
But then after death, we realise
that's all the thing going on, yeah.
Let's fucking take his tombstone away, let's hide his body, because we're like, shit, he's going to get... I mean, can you think of anybody else in our history, in the UK history right now, who we know for a fact was an absolute fucking nutcase like this, and went, let's revere the twat? Is there anybody you can think of outside of this? Like, even close?
No, I'm even going as far as European history.
Because we know our dictators when we know them, but we don't revere them, right? We know our dictators very well. We've got Vlad the Impaler, the fucking Stalin and Hitler. We've got all these fucking dictators, and we went,
Lenin.
you are twats.
Even Putin today is nowhere near on this level.
I don't think he fucking sells 10-year-olds.
No, you know what I mean? It's no, I can't. And even so, we don't have a fucking national holiday for him. I'm trying to go back to the UK. We don't have national holidays for people, really. But
I mean, our bank holidays in the UK. I mean, other than bank,
they're around seasonal things like May Day
and
August.
Genuine bank holiday. But
Yeah, like seasonal changes.
or the Queen has her second birthday. So
Alright, that's a good example. The Queen. We have a, you know, we'll get an extra day's holiday next year for the Jubilee.
Yeah.
Alright, we get a national holiday next year for the Queen's Jubilee. Now we could argue, you know, there's Canadian orphanage that we've not done yet as an episode, and there's the David Icke, the Queen's a reptilian, all that shit. But that's all conspiracy theory and
she didn't oversee
this.
Yeah.
Nah, there's...
I can't think of anyone who's revered like this man, who is, quite frankly,
an embarrassment to your nation
very
that he never walked upon.
So, twice today, we both come down on the same side. Firstly, does I believe he found America first? No.
No.
And does I believe...
I'm not talking about United States of America, continental America. No, he didn't. He found the Americas, the islands around continental America.
And most importantly, should he be revered?
God, no. Not at all.
And do you know what? Quite frankly, to end.
I just go keep going through all, but we're looking at 15th century Britain through 21st century lens. Right, I'm going to look at America, 21st century America through a 21st century lens. Why the fuck are you still revering him?
Do you know what I think?
I'm glad places aren't. I'm glad Berkeley in California in 92 and we're at Albuquerque in 89. We're not.
Do you know what? And this is not America's fault. I'll tell you why it's not America's fault. Do you remember September 11th happened? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And for the years prevailing September 11th,
very jingoistic.
Yeah, exactly. They only saw the media that they were allowed to see, and it was very much cocooned. If they wanted to see different media, they had to get out of the country, right? I think as well with Columbus, it's similar to the same thing. They're not really exposed unless you go find it for yourself. There's no media exposure about what Columbus really did.
Well, I think.
Or
I mean, we're getting
it's not taught in schools, or it's not You know, no one goes to school and goes, you celebrate Columbus Day. Do you know what he was really like? There's no one going on the media, on the TV going, Columbus was a bit of a dick. He's celebrating.
I think that all it comes down to that it's America isn't a country.
It's a corporation now, right?
Well, yeah, it's a corporation now, but even before that, before you get to that point, it's 50 countries playing together.
Yeah, if you talk about state divide, yeah.
It's 50 countries playing together that, you know, Alaska might as well be a different fucking country to Idaho that's a different country to Texas.
In most expense, yeah.
And I know in the UK we've got Yorkshire and the Midlands and the Cotswolds and
but it's ruled by one.
London. But while we have, I think we have bigger regional accents. You could travel 10 miles and see a different regional accent in the UK.
Yeah, without doubt, yeah.
Right? But as much as I'm a fucking Yorkshireman before I'm an Englishman, it's not really, Yorkshire's not really a thing in our politics.
Not yet.
You know, Yorkshire, you've got North and South divide, but that's it really at the moment. America's always been a collection of 50 gangs.
I know what you mean.
And I think having something like Columbus discovered us and that's our holidays, it's a unifying thing for a country that's normally pulling in 50 different directions.
Yeah, I think you need them though. And quite frankly, maybe that's why it exists.
That's what I think, Mum, is why it exists. You know, we've got Labour Day, they have Labour Day, they have Columbus Day, they have Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, for fuck's sake, Jesus.
Let's celebrate the day. Actually, yeah. Should Columbus be revered in America? Well, you fucking revere the day. You have a celebration week when you wiped out the native population, so why not fucking go for it? In for a penny, in for a pound.
This is secondary to 75 million dying.
Yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Jesus.
Give me a cent, I'll have $1.
What the fuck are you guys doing? Do you know, it's unsurprising when you think of it that way. Fucking...
On that bombshell.
Jesus. We're not going to American viewers left.
I don't think we're going to be allowed in America.
Passport's been revoked, never mind fucking COVID's passport.
Well, thank you for watching. Oh, for fuck's sake. I've been Lord Badger. He's been Craig. Until next time, see you there.
You can all fuck off.